that day I gave birth is the day the devil wanted to kill me. Story time. I got to the hospital that day that I gave birth, and it was late at night. I think like at 4. And they said they had to send me to theater, something that was against, because I always wanted to, deliver my children. Normally I had twins, but they insisted that I had to go to theater. And then I went to theater and, never turned the process, and then I don't know what happened.
Let's talk to them. Let's talk chicka. Let's talk to them. Let's talk to let's talk to them. Let's talk chicka. Let's talk to them. Yeah, I'm from a beautiful place, the Pearl of Africa. Hailing with a 256, it's in my blood. That's a gem where the mountains rise, with stories untold. The tapestry of cultures unfolding, so vibrant and bold. A symphony of stars, a celestial light. The drums beating, echoing through the night, just like a beacon of light. A reflection that's coming up from the Nile. I'm flowing straight into the heart of Africa, with timeless stories untold. What's up, Doug?
Today on the podcast, I'm honored to welcome a truly inspiring woman, Esther. She's a mother, she's a mentor, the founder of the Journey Table with Esther, a platform dedicated to helping women navigate marriage, self-awareness, self-esteem. Having overcome many challenges in her own life, Esther has made it her mission to uplift and empower women, guiding them through their own journeys with wisdom and compassion. In this episode, we dive deep into her personal story, the lessons she's learned, and the impactful work she's doing to create a safe place for the women to heal and grow. Esther, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Bonnie. I'm so excited to be here. I'm a fan.
Tunakulaba nsanyuka.
But I'm a fan.
How do they say welcome to the show in Runyankore?
Twabashemera show it. I don't know how they call a show in Runyankore. Hey, twabashemera. No, the program is also in English. So I was going to say twabashemera program it, but it's still in English.
Anyway, welcome to my podcast, Esther. It's been an amazing journey and meeting you. I wanted to ask you a question. When was the first time you heard about the Ugandan Boy Talk Show, and how did you get connected to this podcast?
It was through TikTok. I watched, I think one of the videos showed up on my For You page, and I followed through. That's how I came to know about you, and then I got in touch because I think it came at the right time when I was also planning to start, but I didn't know how, and yeah, so that's how I reached out.
It is funny because TikTok hasn't really been. It's now just getting better. Actually, my recent episode with Anne Kansime is doing really good on TikTok right now. Funny comments. If you've not subscribed to the Ugandan Boy Talk Show on all social media platforms, we're on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, everywhere, and even subscribe to our YouTube channel. Mm-hmm. But TikTok had already been a challenge. Like, you put a video there and like you get, I mean, the views are many, but then you get 2 likes. So you kind of feel like your content is not doing anything. But it's crazy to hear that it's the way you found about my podcast, and watching those videos that I put out there, it resonated with you and you decided to reach out, and then we get connected and we share ideas, brainstorm. So it's a reminder for all other creators that the work we do is not for nothing.
To add on that, yeah, every episode you put out there is for someone. It's not for everyone. It's for someone. Just one person is going to resonate with it, even if it's just one person that resonates with just that short video that you put. It can't be for everyone. You will put something today, I'll resonate with it. Tomorrow someone else will resonate with it. Yeah, and sometimes you will watch a video on the internet, for example, TikTok. You watch it, you will like it, but you will like it in your heart, but you won't remember to like or, share or do something or even comment. But say it to yourself, you're like, right. Or, you understand. So sometimes
Yeah.
the likes, I feel like it's not like the most important part of the content.
I like to agree with you. And although the other day somebody came and commented on my YouTube. My YouTube, when you go to my YouTube, you won't find many views. I would say that. It's like it goes back to what you said. Like maybe it does not resonate with the people, but the people that do resonate with that, they're always there to watch. And one guy was making a comment, and he said that it's sad to see that the people who invest their time and money into their content, they have little to no audience. But for me, I didn't take it in a negative way. I understand
No.
what he's saying. I have an audience. Like there's the 200 people that watch my video, those ones resonate with that. And the funny part is like when you put the same clip on Instagram, like I have a video that has 1 million views on Instagram, but I don't have a video that have 1 million views on YouTube. So like people resonate with certain things,
Yeah.
but that doesn't stop me from doing
No, it
content.
doesn't
Like
really.
for me, it's good to see the numbers and engagement.
Yeah.
But it's just good to just create. So I want to encourage anybody who is doing content, like it's not just about numbers.
No, it's not. When you focus on the numbers or making money out of social media, you may not deliver or you may not continue with the purpose why you started. You understand? Sometimes those take long. But if you started with, for example, you want to help someone, you want to educate about something, you just have to keep showing up. I also started a YouTube channel, and it's hard, to be honest. It's very hard. Sometimes you feel discouraged, sometimes you feel like people don't consume your content, but then you will just get one person and they'll be like, I feel like you're talking about me, or you really helped me with this video, I needed to hear it. And for me, that's really what works for me. It's not about the numbers, as long as just one person really is helped. Or yeah.
I had a guest on my podcast. It's called Turner. He's an American poet. And when I had him on the podcast, I told him about my podcast might not be having the many views, or might not be one of those podcasts you see that have million views. And he stopped me right there, and he said, it's not about numbers, it's about impact.
Yeah, true.
Whenever you do something about numbers, you can have, like he said, it doesn't mean the podcasts that have numbers create impact. They can be podcasts where people are just like bashing another person. People are going to laugh about it. They're going to comment, share everything, but it's not going to benefit anybody. You do a video educating somebody about something.
I watched, I think it was APAS saying that Ugandans, like, I don't know how to say it. I don't want to I don't want to sound like I'm attacking my fellow Ugandans, but most people will consume, the content of, like funny things. Really something funny, something not informative or what. But I remember when I was starting my podcast, someone told me, you should have it in your mind that Ugandans don't like serious things. I'm like, I'm not starting this to impress or get the numbers or whatever. I'm starting this to help just one person out there, or talk to someone, or encourage, or inspire, or give hope to someone out there that needs to, that is losing hope. So for me, it's not, well, if you get the numbers, just like any other content creator, it's good. But as long as you help someone out there, that's it for me. Even if it's just one soul in a day or in a month, that's it for me, Rich.
So from our small conversation here, talk, people already know now you're a content creator, you have a YouTube channel, and you're embarking on this journey of creating a podcast, basically to touch on stories that women go through, and not only women, because behind the scenes, you asked me if I would love to be on your podcast someday. It's not only women, it's anybody that has a story to share, which is kind of the same thing that I do. And I'm glad to have this platform for the people that they're non-celebrities. I remember people have told me, and you have said this, that your podcast is only celebrities. You only bring celebrities. But when you go back to my podcast, I started with people that they're nobody. I really didn't care if you had 200 followers on Instagram. If you had, even if you had an Instagram, I wanted to create a platform for the people to come and share their journey, their story, because there are people who have an impact. Like we were talking about the numbers in content. There's people who have there are people who have impacts, but they just don't have a platform.
Yeah.
And when you give these people a platform, they can share their idea
Yeah, true.
to help another person. And this is a problem we face in Uganda, that there's a lot of kids that have talent, but they don't have an opportunity.
Yeah.
And this is the same thing with media, that there's a lot of people who have great ideas, but they don't have a platform to come and share this idea. So I opened up this podcast.
That's
I'm
right.
blessed to have the celebrities to come on here, but even once in a while, I bring Esther, who behind the scenes she was telling you, nobody knows me. What am I going to say? But like, you have an amazing idea that I want people to hear about today, and I'm excited to have you today to speak to people. Maybe they'll resonate with you better
Yeah, thank
for
you.
knowing that, okay, this person is not a celebrity, but she does this.
Thank you for having me.
You've been watching my podcast. I have segments that we walk through. It's a story, but we break it down into segments where we discuss things. I ask you questions. You give your opinion. The first one
Okay.
is basically your opinion. It's not any advice to anybody. It's just how you feel. It might not be the right one for other people, but it's
Yeah.
just you and how you feel about it. And this is called this or that. I ask you two things. You pick one. You can explain why you pick one of those and the reason why. Or sometimes you can say, I don't have an explanation. It's just because that's what I like.
Yeah.
You ready?
Yeah, right.
So the first one is marriage counseling. Okay, I'll make it better. Going for marriage counseling or reading a self-help book.
I feel like sometimes you need someone who understands the situation better than you. And I love having conversations with people. Yeah. And I love to listen to people that have lived the experience to get their side of, their view about something. So, marriage counseling.
I didn't pick answer for myself because, first of all, I know I'm not a reader. So I'll pick counseling to talk to somebody else because I believe, first of all, I don't like reading, but also I believe that a book is not going to go back and forth
Thank
with
you.
you.
I think I would choose reading, but now, like, the reason why I said on a second thought, I feel like sometimes I love, when I'm overwhelmed. For example, now that you're talking about marriage counseling, I'm assuming that the moment you go, the reason why you could go for marriage counseling is because maybe you have issues in your marriage. So I love to speak to someone when I'm overwhelmed, because I can't even read. You understand? I can't read. I can't focus. I can't do anything. So I even though I love reading so much, it has helped me so much. But I would choose marriage counseling. I mean, get the answers for the questions
Yeah, I think
I'm looking for. I mean, like the questions I have.
You know what's funny though? Like for me, I think if I'm to go for marriage counseling, it has to be really, really bad because I don't like opening up. Like I don't like telling people. I don't like telling another person I don't know.
I love it.
So I do, and I do it. Like there's only a few people in the world that I trust to tell everything about my life. Like everything. It is hard for me to do that. So the time I choose to go for marriage counseling, it is bad.
Of course, it has to be bad.
So if it has failed my dad, if it has failed my mom, if it has failed my best friend, I'm like, counseling.
Yeah, true.
So that's when I would do that. You always like things about improving yourself, making yourself better. And anything that you hear out of there that could add something to your life, you like to go for it. And this question is building workshops or like confidence building workshops or one-on-one mentorship. Like, would you rather go for a conference where they're teaching you about confidence, or would you rather sit with this one person and just do a mentorship one-on-one?
A one-on-one mentorship. I feel like when you're having, I prefer a one-on-one conversation. Like when I'm having back and forth conversation with someone is better for me than, sitting there in a group of people and someone just teaches about all these kind of things. So I think one-on-one mentorship.
I think I give this example as a class. When you have a tutor, he's just teaching you. You learn better than in a class of 100 people because here the teacher is dividing the attention to everybody.
Yeah.
And actually, it makes you be vulnerable to just explain exactly how you feel or what exactly you need to be helped at.
That's
So
true.
I also would go with one-on-one. Speaking to a large audience or having a deep conversation one-on-one.
I don't mind both. But since we are
Yeah.
choosing one, I will choose the one-on-one conversation. Like I said, I love to have one-on-one, ask questions, understand, listen. Yeah, so a one-on-one conversation.
Learning from personal experiences or learning from others' mistakes.
Others' mistakes. You know why? Um,
Why?
I think all my life I've been stubborn enough to learn from my experience. But now that I'm grown, I am willing, I am open to learning from others' mistakes. Because you see, some experiences will ruin you. You understand? Some
Yeah.
learning on the job can be really hard. Like you will be in a situation that you know nothing about. And most times you could lose your mental health. It can be bad. You can, some situations are really bad, or some mistakes, can cost us big time. You understand? So now that I've been there, I have lived. I'm now 29. I'm open to learning from others, experiences. I am open. I was very stubborn. Like if someone tells me, don't do that, I will actually do it as like a child. If they tell you don't do this,
Yeah.
I will go on and do it. I am so grateful for, everything I've done, all the mistakes I've done. I'm really, by the way, I have no regrets in life. With all the mistakes I've done, I have no regrets because they're the same experiences that have turned me into the person that I am today. But now that I'm 29, really, I feel like now I'm too old to be, bumping into things. So now I'm open to learning from other people's mistakes. I'm not.
It's actually funny that you say it that way because that's a perspective I didn't even think about it. Because the first time we had this question, I think both of us had accepted our personal experiences, but you give a different perspective that I actually really like because there's a time or age where you get that you don't want that. Like you've had the
I'm
share.
embarrassed. I am embarrassed. I am embarrassed. There are some things I think of and I'm like, oh, how did I do that? You understand? But the reason why I'm actually doing what I'm doing is I feel like it's the grace of the Lord that got me out of my curiosity. Everything that I've done, like the mistakes I've done and all these kind of things, I feel like some of the experiences would have ruined my life. You understand? Yeah. So now that I'm old enough, I think I'm open to learning from other people's experiences.
I'm gonna do something different that I've never done on here, but I like this conversation where we're at because this is a question I thought about earlier. That you speaking about your mistakes that you've done, and assume all of us we've gone through a life of partying, going to clubs, doing this life, and it's been something that's a lot of our age mates have gone through, have dealt with, like through it now, and recently somebody died. I don't know if you've heard that story. The
So
girl who died at
sad.
Mezo. I don't want to talk about that because I don't want to trigger like family and stuff, but we all know it happened. May her soul rest in peace. But there's a lot of people or girls that are into that right now and they don't listen and they don't hear. And this is the part where we say learning from other people's mistakes. What can you tell a young girl out there right now to maybe help? You may help one girl or two who will tune into this podcast to listen. And I'm not saying like you're going to tell them exactly the things you did, but what's going on in Uganda right now. She was at a club, people are poisoning their drinks. Just a short, you can just talk about that and what you tell them from your personal experience.
The funny part is when you are that age, tebalina kye bakugamba. Tosobola biwulira. Ate most especially, I was thinking about something recently that God, like how God can turn what is meant for evil and turn it for good is the same way the devil can turn it, what is meant for good and turn it for evil, like to destroy your life. Because when you are young, you're pretty. You have all your bodies banging and all that. Everyone is telling you you're pretty. Nga nawe ochiraba. Kati sometimes you get false confidence. You feel like I can move from one man to another. I can drop any man anytime I want because the next day I will have another one. Kwegamba babeera mu line oba you understand? Oba nti oba oyagala wa sente oba oyagala kwegamba bonna weebali. Kati sometimes the devil can give you false confidence to destroy your life just because you're pretty, because you're all these kind of things. And this is something I thought about now. I never thought about it, Then nga toyina kyongamba, I was living my life then. Like I said, I don't regret, but if I had to go back, I wouldn't live most of the experiences I lived then. You understand what I mean? Some things are just not worth it. Some things, like I said, could ruin your life. Because tell me why we used to get out of Casablanca in the morning, abantu bagenda ku mirimu ku Monday. Huh? Mwambadde obuntu nga tebutegerekeka. You know the devil can even take away shame from you, eh? N'olaba nga toswala ng'ebintu ebyandikuswaziza tebikyakuswaza. N'oyimirira ku kkubo ku makya ssaawa 2 ssaawa 3 abantu bayitawo bagenda ku mulimu. Okay, that's one of my experience that I'm talking about. Nti we got exposed to places that could have ruined us. These days, these things are happening, even like a lot. Girls are being dragged, they're being raped, they are, a lot of things are happening. You understand? So, me, what I can tell a young girl, live your life, but have God in your corner. Build a relationship with God, because what we've been telling you will want to experience because of age and all these kind of things. But please try to build a relationship with God and make sure that you get intimate with God. What we've been telling you, ebisinga byagenda okubuusa gwe byotasobola kwebuusa mu magezi go. Oba okitegeera kye nkugamba. I think that's the only thing that I would have corrected if I went back. Right now, there are things I would like to do, but because I've built my relationship with God, it keeps me grounded. You understand? Like, no, I can't do that now. You get?
I'm blessed to have grown up in a Christian home. I'm not saying I lived a righteous life. I have a share of my own mistakes. I have a share of things that I've done that I'm not happy about. But one thing for sure is being grounded to God. Because we've done our mistakes, we've done everything. But there's that thing on the back of your head that calms you down even after everything.
Right.
God or Wakatonda. You would have been even worse than that. And again, I like the answer that you gave, that live your life. You're not saying that you should not do the things you want to do, but in everything that you do, remember God, and God will protect you through even the worst things. And I love that. I love telling that to the people. And even me, like I said, in my own life, God has been able to keep me away from some stuff. Singana fada or singana katioba, I'm doing what, man. But that having God in my heart has been really, really helpful.
Yeah, because you see, Bonnie, me, I have lived my life. To be honest, even the people in my life know. Yeah. It could have been wrong to other people, but me, I'm grateful I lived that life when I had to live it. Because I lived it, I feel like now there is nothing that excites me back there. You understand? I've done it all. I've gone, out. I have done all these things. And now at 29, I feel like nothing really excites me. Nothing there, because I've done it all. Now, not everyone has to do that. Not everyone has to live their early 20s like that. But if that's what you want to do, if you like to do it, have God, build a relationship with God first, because it's going to help you a lot of things. And then go out there and, enjoy your life, because you have to outgrow that phase in life. Because if you don't live that phase in your life, you will bounce back at a later stage, which is even more dangerous. Imagine you have kids, you have a family, and now you want to stay in the bar until morning. You understand what I mean? And you know, when you can't have it and you never had it, you start feeling like you missed at life. Even if it's not even, there is nothing even more, a lot of interesting things there. But the fact that you didn't live it, you will feel like you wasted your years, you didn't have fun, you didn't do this and that. You understand? So it doesn't give you fulfillment. For now, me, I'm fulfilled. I feel like I lived my 20s. I exhausted my 20s. So yeah, now I'm content. Like, I'm okay. A lot of things on the streets don't really, they don't faze me now.
Now, the final question of this or that is journaling your thoughts or recording a video reflection. Like when things happen to you, would you just write it down or would you like to talk about it on a video?
I write because, first of all, there are things that you won't even talk about. I mean, like, make a video about. You understand? So I write. I think about something or something happens, I will just write it down, and I think I write more than I post a video. Usually posting a video,
Yeah.
This content thing is tiring, by the way. And I respect content creators. The way you get out of your comfort zone and be like, oh, now let me make a video. You understand? Sometimes I be fighting. Like, there is this voice that tells me, speak about this, but I don't have the energy at some point. So sometimes I write a lot. I write a lot more than recording a video.
So now, this is a session where I go into somebody's I call it a main session. I just break it down in sessions for the people to track around, but basically it's just the same conversation. And people already know about you for the most part. I know a little bit about your journey, and some videos you talk about your journey. But can you take us back in your childhood where some key experiences like shaped who you are today? I know all of us in our childhood, like we go through a lot. Which once it will get how we're raised up, like we can take the whole day. But like, what are some of the events that happened in your life that you can sit back and reflect that helped me to be the person I am today?
Have you watched the videos of graduation for a poor child and a rich kid
on TikTok?
Yeah, I think on the internet, like omwana ow'omwava ye mukana akwata omuzeena n'atandika okkaaba, and then ow'omugagga abeera chill ng'ali awo talina. So when you ask me about my childhood, actually nyinza otandika okkaabira. But my childhood was filled with challenges, but then fun moments as well, just like any other kid. I was raised by a single mother. I didn't have a father figure in my life. Okay, my father was alive, but I didn't grow up with him. So I was raised by a single mother, and we are only 3 girls in my mom's side. And my sisters were much older than me. Not much, but a bit older than me. And one, we didn't grow up with her. And then my other sister was at school somewhere else. So I grew up, like most of the time, like school, I grew up with my cousins a lot. And then away from my cousins, it was just me and my mom, really. And maybe the relatives. And so, people who have been raised by single mothers of that time can understand the challenges that comes with that. But we grew up in, like, I think I call it survival mode. We were just surviving. We were literally surviving most of the time.
Where was this? Where did you grow from?
Chiruhura, a small village called Washamuri.
Chiruhura.
As I was raised from that side, Chiruhura, it's called, our village is called Washamuri. And our trading center. So I went to school from the village. My first primary school was called Komjina. I hope I meet my OBs and OGs on this platform, you guys. How are you doing?
OBs and OGs, yeah.
Yeah, so I think I was at that school for, I think, from P1 to P6. I jumped like P2 as a very sharp child. So I would, like do well. I think she's good to go to,
Okay.
So then I changed
Yeah.
at P7. So that was basically my school time as a child. Even secondary schools, I went to Buremba, and then I went to Chinoni Community for my O level, and yeah, that was it actually for me. Let me tell you something about my childhood. There are very many things that transpired, like, in the village. Did you grow up in the village? Do you know what happens in the village?
I grew up in Wakiso.
I don't think
Which
that's a
is
village.
it's kind of a village.
I don't know. Our villages were
Yeah.
typical villages, my dear. I don't know what you're talking about
Okay.
with Wakiso.
Okay.
But let me tell you some funny story. I used to do a lot of things as a child, like I said, as a very sharp child. And when you're very sharp, like where I come from, they get scared. Like this girl is going to be spoiled or something. I think they were, prophesying those things because at some point I got a little bit spoiled. So
Spoiled.
something that was funny, I used to cut hair, like, and I taught myself these things, like this Janet cut. So like those Bahima ladies would come to our home, I cut their hair, even my aunties, even my mom, then cut nails, my uncles, But then there is this one
And
thing.
how old were
I
you?
was very young, maybe 10, maybe 10,
Okay.
15. The time I spent in the village, every time we were in holidays, they would come. But then there is this one skill that I had. So, they had these small phones, the buttoned phones, like the
Kabiriti.
kabiriti. Kati nga bwe kagwa mu mazzi. Nga bwe kagwa mu mazzi. I started with like people at home. Nengezaako nga bwe kagwa mu mazzi nga nkasumulula ne nzija mu battery ne nkateeka. We had like these round grass thatched houses. Kati nga nkateeka awo ku bisubi, omusana ne gukakuba ne kalyoka kakala, kati ne mbizaamu ne kakola. And then people thought, I had like a special skill.
Nti oli makanika.
Kati ewaka wonna nga akasimu k'omuntu oba kagudde mu mazzi oba mu mata, nga babundeetera ne busumulula ne buteekawo ne
Did you earn money from
Sorry?
it?
No. No.
That was a business idea
Which
right there.
that? I now feel like I missed a lot I missed a lot of money for all the things I used to do for free. Yeah, but that's like one childhood memory that cracks me up.
And I feel like that itself like has shaped you into who you are, because you remembering growing up with nothing like from that and living this life now, that it helps you appreciate what you have right now. And I think from having a conversation with you, talking about being grateful, you know what it means to have nothing.
One thing I can tell you, Bonnie,
poor.
My childhood experience taught me to work hard. Mukwano, nze n'amazzi nsobola ogatunda nze gw'olaba. I hate poverty. I hate not having money. It stresses me so much.
Yeah.
That I will stay up like, I have to start this business. I have to do this. I have to have money. Like I have to, it has taught me to work hard. And then it has also taught me that in the process of chasing money, don't lose your humanity. Because I have seen people with money, but they lack in character. Yeah. And that's a very terrible space to be in. Then it has also taught me to extend help, because I know what it feels like not to have help. At some point, I think at some point I felt like I would work on everyone's problems. It made me feel bad if anyone came to me needing help and I can't help them. You understand? But then now I've
Mm-hmm.
realized that omanyi tojja mmala bizibu bya buli omu. You also have to build yourself.
That
You
is
have
true.
to, don't feel guilty. Give yourself some grace if someone reaches out and you don't have. It's okay. And I feel like also the
Mm-hmm.
bad experiences I had, the kind of spoiling that I had, is because of how I grew up, you know? Imagine, what do you mean you come to Kampala? You're not at school. And I only had my sister here who was, like trying to ground me and all that. You understand? But you're young. You
Mm-hmm.
don't even know what you're doing. It's not that I realized I didn't know what I was doing. So growing up in poverty, that you the child is the one to go back home and help, back home and build home and do all
Mm-hmm.
these kind of things. Somehow it pushes you in, in a certain space that is not good. Like you are trying to change home, like it stresses you, it puts you so much on pressure. And man, that also was not a good
Yeah.
set. But I'm grateful that God, Katonda tasobola kuwa ky'otasobola, eventually things work out.
And I think everything we go through in our lives makes us who we are today. Like today, you're able to even talk to other women about something, or to talk to other girls. Like, I've lived it, I've been there, and you can give them like your life experiences.
Yeah.
And in the introduction, I mentioned your mother, and this is another, not a challenge, but this is another level of life, or something you go to. You were a girl, you were doing this, living by yourself. Now you're a mother, you have kids. How was that experience? And I think on TikTok you have a video just talking to the mothers. And in your latest episode with Priscilla, you guys touched on motherhood. It was mainly motherhood. Speaking of which, if you're listening to this podcast, you should go check out the Journey Table with Esther. They have a really dope episode with Esther. It was a cool story. I watched the whole thing. And listening to Priscilla's journey
She's an
was
amazing
amazing.
woman, and she's sharing her story with the world, which is amazing.
But going back to your personal journey as a mother, how has that helped you to be in position to share a thing or two to another mother who is going through something?
So first of all, I've come to realize how hard motherhood is. Not even, leave alone having children. I mean, the process. Like I told you, God has pulled me out of very many dark spaces. But my journey to motherhood, the day I gave birth, is the day the devil wanted to kill me. Story time. I got to the hospital that day that I gave birth, and it was late at night. I think like at 4. And they said they had to send me to theater, something that I was against, because I always wanted to, deliver my children. Normally I had twins, but they insisted that I had to go to theater. And then I went to theater, and nebatandika the process, and then I don't know what happened. The bakusanyalaza the down part. So bwe bansala omusajja n'antunga, I think something went wrong. They had to remove everything nga mbawulira. So they removed all the bye batungisa. I don't know whether they're called threads or something. I don't know. Ewuzi ezo balina ozitaagula. Kati bwe baazitaagula oziddamu, that's where the problem came. I don't know what happened, but something went wrong. And I remember that day like yesterday. The doctors were on pressure. Everyone in the room was on pressure. I lost a lot of blood on that bed. Kati, what really got me is how everyone was panicking. And I remember this statement of muleete omusaayi omukazi agenda tufaako. And honestly, I started crying because I felt like the spirit of death was with me in the room. I started crying. And then I remember a woman like opening my eyes like this. Esther, don't close your eyes. Don't close your eyes. Please, I beg you, don't close your eyes. Meanwhile, everyone is panicking. Abamu badduka kuleeta musaayi. Eno simanyi kituuseewo. Banange. A lot was happening in that room. But then I remember a voice telling me, call on Jesus or else you're going to die. I swear. It's like someone came and told me, call Jesus or else you're going to die. Tell me why out of the blue. I started shouting, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus.
Modwaliro.
Mudwalilo mu theater, remember they'd be saying, keep quiet. May I scream Jesus? On the third time, I blacked out. And then I woke up later and, all was fine. I wasn't fine. I lost a lot of blood. They had to do blood transfusion. But thank God I woke up. First, I left theater. I went to a different room. My babies were put in NICU. For 2 days, they were monitoring me. I couldn't do anything. You understand? Until on the third day, I went and saw my kids in the ward. We went back to the room. That experience itself was very traumatizing. Very traumatizing. And I used to hear people who say, I would love to, I don't mind having kids again. I love kids. But I have come to respect people's opinions and decisions that they don't want to have kids. At first, it never made sense. I remember I was watching Bump Love and Pumula said that she has experienced motherhood through her only son. She has no problem keeping that. You understand that? And she said that motherhood is like putting yourself in a place of death, like you have no control on your life. You don't know whether you're going to die or survive. And when she was speaking to that, when she spoke about it, I really cried because I knew that at some point I didn't have control of my life. It was just God to do, his own thing. It made me realize that motherhood is not as easy as we think it is. That is one. First, that experience made me respect people's opinions that say they don't want to go through that motherhood thing, that pregnancy and all that. I honestly respect that now. Now, the kids came in. Now I've experienced the joy that the kids bring. I have my 2 beautiful daughters, they are twins. And I'm a whole Nalongo. And I'm grateful for that. And my kids have given me purpose in life. They have taught me patience, which I didn't have at first. I didn't have patience, but with my kids, I've learned to be patient. But then they have also made me realize that on top of being a mother, I also have a life. I have a life. I can be a mom. I can be a wife. I can be me. Like I have a life outside motherhood, outside, I have a life. So motherhood has really put me in a place. I love taking care of myself, but motherhood has really showed me the importance of taking care of yourself. Like you can never even be a great mom if you don't take care of your mental health, your physical health, your emotional health. You cannot. I've realized that most times when you are stressed, for example, the way you parent your child is different from when you are at peace. So for you to be able to be a great mom or take care of your children, you have to first take care of yourself. You have to be mindful what you feed your mind with. You have to be mindful that the things that stress you, the things that really take care of yourself. And I always tell this to every mother. And I know motherhood is different for everyone. The some of us, the kids still have their fathers who take care of them, and then you also do your part. But then there are others that they are the mother, the father, which is different. You understand? Their experience can be different from mine. But every chance you get, spend time with yourself, have time to rest, take care of yourself. Then you can be able to go on and, face the motherhood challenges and all that. You have to first equip your mind and yourself for the motherhood journey because it's not easy, to be honest. It's not all glamorous like we always see.
That is a deep answer that I wanted to give you all the time that you need on the podcast to share about that, especially like your path, because I am not a mother, and however much men we say we understand, we don't know it all. And I feel like sometimes we need to put that respect to the mothers and people who give birth because we don't know what they go through. I know things are hard for men too, like take care of family and stuff. But in the same way, I think we need to respect the mothers out there and what they go through and what they do to bring to the table. Because it's, I don't know, I can't say much about it, but I want to say you're a great mom and everything that you've done, and being here to talk to other women about it. It's everything that the world needs today.
Mm.
In that same way, you're big about self awareness, just being aware of yourself,
Mm.
and it's part of personal growth. How has that helped you as a person in shaping you in your personal growth?
I feel like for you to be able to grow, first of all, you need self awareness. You understand? You have to
Hmm.
be aware, you have to do self assessment, you have to know your good side, your weaknesses, your strength, because you can't improve what you don't know. You understand? So,
Hmm.
me transitioning from like the past, stages in life, I have been aware. Like, I have had conversations with myself, like very uncomfortable conversations, why you be like, you know what? Now you've made this age, or now you've done this. You can't continue doing the same thing. You have to grow. Omanyi like kibi nnyo okukula mu mubiri naye amagezi n'ogaleka emabega. You understand? So self-awareness is going to help you to understand. It's going to give you like the cautiousness. Yeah. You will know that, Omanyi, I have to break this habit. I have to, I have this talent. I need to flourish it. I need to make it better.
Hmm.
You will understand that there is this new trend that is going on. I don't have to do it because I don't believe in it. I have values. You understand? I have what I believe in.
Hmm.
I have what I stand on. It helps you set boundaries in life. It helps you to grow. It helps you to become successful. Because, for example, if you have mistakes that you're making in the financial side of life, like business, for example, you're a bad spender like me, for me to be able to improve that, I had to fast, which I'm not even halfway, but I'm on the journey. But it took me self-awareness to
Yeah.
understand, you know what, your spending habits are really bad. And if you don't improve, it's going to keep you in a certain space that you don't like. You're going to be broke. You understand? So it takes self-awareness for you to be able to flourish the talents that you have, to improve, to grow your character, improve your manners, bw'oba tolina self awareness ne bagamba naye mwana gwo olina empisa embi, tojja ziraba ojja bavuma buvumi. But in actual sense, it's going to
Hmm.
antagonize you in relationships, at work, and all these. If you're married, no one is going to love you with your bad manners. You need to change. You understand? You can't come up
Yeah.
with these conversations of me, this is who I am. No. Sometimes in life, for you to be able to grow, you have to change, you have to grow, you have to evolve, you have to outgrow certain things. So I think it takes self-awareness to be able to do that. Yeah. So I think it's very important. And then it builds confidence as well.
That is a good answer. I really like that. And I think somebody who is listening will definitely love that and pick something. And you cannot change. For me, what I've learned is like you cannot change what you
Yeah, you
don't know about
cannot.
yourself. It takes you self awareness to know that. But this leads me to, before I go to this other part,
Mm.
there's been, I like to ask people about this question, anybody that I've had on a podcast. It's about money
Mhm.
in a
Mhm.
relationship. I've had guests on the podcast here, and I like to ask their opinions about money.
Mhm.
Um, what do you think about money in a relationship? Like a boy and a girl. So people confuse it, and I want to make sure we understand it. Like how people confuse it. Like there's an expectation of women expecting money from a man, like omusajja alina okumpa sente,
Mhm.
in all sorts of relationships. I know it's different in if you're dating or if you're married or if you're just a friend or something like that. But I want you, in your own way, to just tell me your opinion about money in a relationship, and is it entitled for a man to give a woman money?
Entitled? No, they're not entitled to. We are
Okay,
not entitled, but women were created to be provided for. I will say that.
I agree with that.
Yeah, and part of the respect that comes for a man comes with, partially what he can provide, the security that he can provide. Watch the gate. But I feel like personally what I believe is money issues shouldn't be just grounded on just one thing. I feel like it's very important for both sides to have money. This is my opinion. Nti, if I, for example, if I ask you, Bonnie, can you help me with 200? Nongamba, no zinyima kale, not even that you don't have. Nti I can have it myself. You understand what I mean? Nti, do not give someone, do not be so much, do not feed it your mind with the fact that omusajja alina okumpeereza sente to the point that it makes you lazy to go out and make your own money.
Point.
You get what I mean? Yes, I know kuwa naye nga naawe fuluma naawe okole ki sente ezizo. You understand? Because bw'oba oyina, it's not going to be hard. Tegenda beera struggle omuntu kuba akimanyi ne bw'aba tazikuwadde era ojja kukola ki? Ojja kyekolera. But like for a man, it's very important to have money or to provide for your woman. Me, I've seen these things. A man who loves you will provide without even trying kumuteka ku pressure or bach. Nga no kumusaba tomusabye. Me, in my opinion, I think nti omusajja ataweereza mukazi sente tamwagala. Okay, mulimu abakodo. Nga ye naturally mukodo. And these are the things that we were talking about. Sometimes you have to realize naye banaye ndi mukodo. You're wondering why women don't like you. But in actual sense, no one can stand up. Like, over you get what I mean. So you have to understand, banange, don't be mean like that, nga it's too much. But me, I feel like omuntu bw'aba akwagala tagenda kulaba nga obonaabona obanga you need something they can take care of, akusiriikirire. Oba agaana okikuwa nga akwagala. I don't think so. Me, I think omusajja atalabirira mukazi abatamwagala, because I've seen men who take care of their women even when they don't have a lot, but they do whatever is possible. Namulabirira in his capacity. Capacity is zaawukana. Togenda waliwo abantu baawukana in what they can afford. Oba okitegeera. So me, I think money is very important, but then on a second thought for both sides. Because mentality gye tweteekamu ffe ng'abakazi nti omusajja alina okumpeereza sente, I feel like it puts us in a very comfort zone nti we end up being lazy, thinking that men are out there working for us. That's why even men mistreat us, even in marriage. If you're married, go out and work. Like work banange. Nga we tutaagala basajja abaavu. I feel like it's irritating for men, even us women in marriage, by the way, okubeera nga all the time tetulina kino, tetulina kajirita, tetulina kibiriiti kyaweddewo, tetulina munnyo, omwana pamba, nga like for once tosobola to go out and buy groceries for once, or to do something at home. I feel like it brings men in a space where they are irritated. Oba bakulabanga bananga ono naye akooya buli kaseera oba osaba kintu oba okitegeera. Even if they love to provide, men have their days when they are stressed about very many things. Kata ate ojja mumubuukira nga talina na sente teyafunye. Like the deal went wrong, or some money didn't come through, otandika omusindikira list munange, omanyi kino kyafudde amazzi bagagjeeko biki de bananga alyoka akuteekeko obusungu bwe. Obanga n'oluusi mwayombya akuyinako obusungu, obanga n'oluusi alinayo someone new, or many every time you men have someone, for example, us in marriage, but kunyiza okay, wakanga mwagala tutabusa kati kati munango yizo mubukira at the wrong time ng'olina by'osaba, like all the time nga gwe yakumanyira nti buli lw'okuba essimu olina ky'osaba nga you can't buy it at home. I feel like it's giving, men so much power. Me, that's how I feel it. At least have your money, have baako ebintu by'olaba nti bino I don't have to ask for it. Ate n'ekirala, for women, especially young girls, come back, kambabuulireko out of experience. You have to set standards. Waliwo ebintu by'otalina kusaba. Simanyi mpa airtime, simanyi ngulira data, simanyi mpaayo emitwalo 10. Oba okitegeera, like there are some things you have to take care of yourself so that nti bw'oba ogenda kusaba help,
Uber
nazo tozisaba mukwano. Make sure you have that money. Saba ez'emmotoka kale. Mugambe banaye nkoye Uber, I need a car. I have my, my 10 million. Nyongerezaako. Oba okitegeera. Era n'abakazi naffe.
That's a good point.
Bw'oba
That's a good
when
point.
you set your standards, era
nyongerezaako.
beba abasajja b'ogenda ofuna bwonna settinga za kufuna data era bw'ojja ofuna. Naye omusajja naawe bw'oba olina ky'olinawo era yeeyo standard y'omuntu gy'ogenda okufuna. Oba okitegeera. And by the way, this is even with men.
Nkitegeera bulungi nnyo.
Yeah, I feel like men respect each other according to the level of success. To, omuntu gy'alina. It's, I think, in humanity.
That's a very good topic, and I like the way you broke it down. It's a perfect way. Or both sides, secret could be a side, but just open and just talking as it is. We're almost coming close to the end of this podcast, but I want to end it with your new innovation of the new podcast that you're starting, the Journey Table with Esther. What's your mission and what are you trying to achieve?
My mission is, first of all, like I told you about my giving birth journey and everything else, like where I've come from and the things I've been through. I feel like everything God does for us, all the second chances at life that God gives us is for His own glory. It's not for us. It's to glorify His name. So we are not supposed to sit on the goodness of the Lord because someone else needs to hear it. And my podcast is basically about, testimonies and, what God has done and where you have come from. So my goal for the podcast is to give someone hope and to serve God, actually, because I feel like it's about time I also do something for God, really. I serve God. He has been so good to me. And to tell people that God is there, God is real. God still exists. The God we read in the Bible is real. The miracles are still happening. So yeah, for me, it's to serve God and to put as many testimonies out there, our journey stories. You hear it's called the Journey Table, and create space for everyone that wants to share their story, because waliwo bona ebintu ebituuka mu bulamu bwaffe ng'olaba tegabadde magezi go, teyabadde taatawo, tabadde kintu kyonna nga Katonda yakuyisizaawo. Oba okitegeera. So sometimes those things are not for you to sit home with it. It's you to tell the world and tell them banaye Katonda akola, so that for anyone who has been out there praying nga talina kyalaba amanye nti Katonda akyaliyo era He will come through for you. So yeah, that's my goal, to give hope, encourage people and share my experiences. For example, about that relationship. I've done relationships. I have so much, When you go through something, you gain knowledge about it. So I'm sharing my experiences, my life experiences, what I've learned, and to serve God, really.
Can you tell the listeners where they can find your podcast or your social media that you're using right now?
I am on YouTube as The Journey Table with Esther, and then same as TikTok.
I'll put the link in the description.
Okay, thank you. And then TikTok, same, The Journey Table with Esther. And then Facebook, I use Essie and Instagram. I'm not big on these social media platforms. I'm just going
when you do content, you need to just go over. Awalala tujja, bagamba awalala
abalala
tujja,
tujja
tujja,
banange ku
tujja.
Instagram tugumiikirizeeko, it's still too much, we are trying to cope up banange, give us some grace. Now we are coming on Instagram oba you have like 100 followers. Yeah, so bambi, give us some grace.
In the future, I think something that maybe I'll help you with this is like there's people who don't use YouTube and they listen to the audio. So you'd want to open up to the audio platforms too. That's what I do with my podcast. Most of the podcasts I listen to them when I'm driving. So like I only watch YouTube when I'm at home and I have time. So basically, it kind of blocks some of the listeners to listen to your show who would have been able to listen to it if they were like driving or something. Anyway, we're gonna wrap up. I'm gonna ask you these rapid fire questions. Mpa answer mwemu tuzite mangu mangu tumalirize. Okay. What's one word that describes your life mission?
Grace.
I was guessing you're gonna say that. What's the best advice you've ever received?
That it gets better.
If you could have a conversation with any inspiring woman, dead or alive, who would it be?
Pastor Foy. She's called Foy. I've forgotten the other name, but she's a pastor and she has a story that, for anyone that knows her, yeah, they know. But she's called Pastor Foy.
And Flavia Tumusime.
My story with Flavia Tumusime is, I don't know. But yeah, I would love to meet her.
What book or quote has changed your life or your perspective on life?
Atomic Habits by James Clear.
What's one thing every woman should tell herself in the morning?
You have a life. In the process of taking care of everyone else, take care of yourself as well.
Esther, thank you very much for sitting with me for this 1 hour and a few minutes, having this conversation. It was really, really, really like inspiring. The way you've answered your questions, the way you've talked about life. Like, this is the thing I tell people, that it does not take celebrities to come here and like motivate you or tell you something.
Yeah.
It can take an ordinary person. Some of those people have a lot of wisdom. It's just we're not on the same level. Like maybe Balibo Vaina's blue tick, but like they can also deliver the same thing. And you spoke to me first before even these people are gonna hear this, because there's a lot of things I learned here, a few things that I had a different perspective on it, and then look at it in your perspective and helps me to understand it better. So I pray and I hope that the listeners are gonna get something out of here. This podcast.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me and the platform that you've given me, and everyone else that will continue to give a platform. I really hope that God blesses you, because what you're doing is amazing.
Hey there, my name is Bonnie Chibuka, the podcast host of the Ugandan Boy Talk Show. Thanks for watching and listening to my podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe. Also, leave a feedback on this podcast, because that's how we grow. Thank you very much and be blessed.
Twabashemera ha Ugandan Boy Talk Show. Amazina ninye Esther Nuwasasiira, na ninganira na Bonnie aha bintu bingi munonga, so za YouTube otuwachinje, twagamba ha bushwere, twagamba ha relationships, twagamba ha motherhood, a lot of things. So twabashemera muwachinje episode yaitu mukama bayo mugisha. Hi everyone, my name is Esther Nuwasasiira, and today I had a conversation with Bonnie, an amazing conversation. We can't wait to have you watch this episode. We talked a lot about a lot of things: motherhood, relationships, my childhood experiences, a lot. It was an amazing conversation, so we can't wait to have you. Thank you.